الحمد لله الحمد لله علي الذات عظيم الصفات سميع السمات كبير الشأن جليل القدر رفيع الذكر مطاع الأمر جليل البرهان فخيم الاسم عزيز العلم وسيل الحلم كثير الغفران جميل الثناء جزيل العطاء مجيب الدعاء عميم الإحسان سريع الحساب شديد العقاب أليم العذاب عزيز السلطان ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا محمدًا إمام المتقين وسيد المرسلين وقائد الغر المجحنين فهو الأمي الذي علم المتعلمين واليتيم الذي بعث الأمل في قلوب البائسين والقائد الموفق الذي قاد سفينة العالم الهادرة في خدم المحيط ومعترك الأمواج إلى شاطئ الأمان إلى صراط الله رب العالمين ثم رضا عن أبي بكر خليفته من قام من بعده للدين ينتصر وعن أبي حفص الفاروق صاحبه من قوله الفصل في أحكامه عمر وجلد عثمان ذي النورين من كملته محاسن في الدارين وظفر وكذا علي مع ابنيه وأمهما أهل أبائك ما قد جاءنا الخبر قال الله تعالى في الكتاب المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد. We begin today's khutbah by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most merciful, the most powerful, the all-knowing. And we send salutations and prayers upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family, his companions, and those who followed after him. I'm honored and humbled to be speaking to this community today as a guest. And although this is the first time me speaking in Tulsa, it doesn't remove the importance and the bond we each other have as Muslims. That no matter where we go around the world, at the end of the day, even if I have not met somebody, and if you have not met me, our belief in that there is only one God, La ilaha illallah, wa Muhammadur Rasulullah, this bond is stronger than anything else. And when we see our brothers and sisters around the world suffering, our hearts should bleed, whether it be in Palestine, whether it be in Kashmir, and there's too many places to mention. Too many. Our hearts should bleed, because we all have this one bond. And throughout these tragic events we see before us, questions come in our heads. Why is this happening? Why is all this musibah, all this difficulty happening to Muslims? Whether it be to other Muslims, or whether it be to ourselves, financially, spiritually, emotionally, in the masjids, in our households, wherever it may be. How am I supposed to deal with difficulty? I want to start off with a word. That word is musibah. Musibah means difficulty. But when we look at the root, the etymology of this word, it comes from the verb asaba, yusib. And asaba literally doesn't mean to be difficult, but it means when an arrow hits its target. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about difficulty will fall upon you, it is not a difficulty of coincidence, a random difficulty. It is a difficulty in which Allah has a plan behind it. It is something in which Allah knows, I'm testing you with this, knowingly this is going to happen to you, knowing that there's going to be hardship, knowing you will be stressed, knowing you will be emotionally disturbed, I'm still going to put this test on you. And who's putting this test on us? Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. The one who has more mercy for each one of us than a mother has for her child.
So why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most merciful, put difficulty on us? There's a few concepts we have to understand when it comes to difficulty. The first one is that لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah will not put a burden on someone in which they cannot handle. This is the first principle we learn here. That whatever comes in our way, we have the capability of handling it. But we may feel like we don't. Very similar to an athlete, for example, who hires a trainer. And the athlete says, I can't go any further. I can't run anymore. And the trainer says, no, you can run for 30 more seconds. The athlete at that moment feels as if they cannot go any further. But the trainer who's trained many athletes, hundreds and hundreds, has seen that he can push you a little bit more because he knows your true potential. And so similarly, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us, we may feel as if it's too much to handle. But it may be because Allah knows something which we do not know. Allah knows that we can handle it even if we don't think we can. So لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. This is the first principle we learn. And as Allah mentions in the Quran, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. We have indeed created human beings in times of toil, difficulty. So to be a human being, in its essence, is to feel difficulty. And also, Allah takes away the misconception in our head that difficulty in its essence is bad. لِيَبَلُّوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. He tests us, why? To see which one of us is best in deeds. How does someone prove themselves? Through a test, through competition, through examination. I know this much stuff through an examination. And so similarly, how will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala know from us, or how will we know, rather, what we can do and are capable of if we don't go through some type of difficulty? Now, difficulty in its essence, as I mentioned, is not bad or evil, but it has purposes. Some of those purposes we know, some of them we do not. Sometimes what we try to do is we try to correlate our good deeds and bad deeds to difficulties in our life. I missed Fajr today, and I also got in an accident today. I got in an accident because I missed Fajr. Or I spoke illy to my parent, and this thing happened to me. And this thing happened to me because I spoke illy to my father or mother. How will we know if these things are true or not? At the end of the day, we do not know. At the end of the day, we cannot make these correlations with certainty. This is something that we don't have the capability of doing. But what we can do is have a perception of Allah that is good. That is something we can do. And as in the Hadith Qudsi says, that I am, Allah speaking, I am as if my servant thinks of me. So if you think that Allah is punishing you, then Allah is punishing you. But if you think that through all these difficulties, Allah will forgive you, because He's Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, then He will forgive you. So what we can change is our perspective and our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we can't make these correlations because we don't have enough knowledge to do so. So with all that aside, when we're talking realistically, what are some practical steps? What are some practical steps in dealing with difficulty? There are 3 steps I want to mention today, inshallah. The first is in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he mentions, إِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ سَرَّاءُ شَكَرًا فَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ وَإِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ ضَرَّاءُ صَبْرًا فَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ. If bounties and favors come your way, you should be thankful, for that is better for this person. And if difficulties fall upon you, then you should be patient, for that is better for you. The Prophet ﷺ is someone who was teaching us things far ahead of his time. He was giving us a sort of psychotherapy in this hadith, where he is trying to help us self-regulate ourselves during times of chaos and difficulty. That he said, if favors fall upon you, what should you do? You should be grateful. Why? Why is it telling us to be grateful? It is a self-defense mechanism to prevent us from becoming too arrogant, from becoming too extravagant. That I have now received a promotion, and a thought Shaitan tried to implant in our minds is that you did it by yourself, with no one's help. It's all because of your hard work. All that sweat and tears and blood, you got the promotion because of that. That good grade is because you spent hours and hours studying. And he tries to make you forget who gave you the good health, who gave you the roof to study under, who gave you all of these bounties. And when we look actually, one of the surahs in the Quran that embodies this idea is Surah Ar-Rahman. How many times does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mention in the surah, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ? You know when a teacher gets upset that all the students failed in class, and the teacher starts yelling, did I teach you? Why didn't you study harder? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? This balagha, this rhetoric of repeating oneself, it is to emphasize something to make a point. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, do you not remember the favors in which Allah has bestowed upon you? Why? Why is He mentioning this over and over again? It's because we forget. Those signs He mentioned in Surah Rahman, those are signs that are just very average signs to us when we look at them. مَرَجُ الْبَحْرَيْنِ يَلْتَقِيَانِ بَيْنَهُمَا بَرْزَخٌ لَا يَبْغِيَانِ. Two seas that are separate and there's a barrier between them. But how often do we make that association to Allah as a sign? Not often. So what happens after that verse? فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ? Are you not going to remember the signs and the favors bestowed upon you? So when the Prophet ﷺ is saying in the hadith, إِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ سَرَّاء shakara, if someone receives good, they should be grateful. Why? To self-regulate these emotions and these thoughts, and so they don't become arrogant. And on the other end, in asabatu darra'u sabr, فَكَانَ خَيْرَ اللَّهِ. And if difficulty and a test and trial falls upon you, what should you do? Sabra. Sabra means patience. It's a very difficult concept to understand. We can say it means restraining oneself, not acting in anger. But I believe the best way to truly understand it is through an example of Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam. When he lost his beloved child, Yusuf alayhi salam. When he lost his beloved child, Yusuf alayhi salam, someone he loved so dearly, who meant the world to him. And when he was taken away from him, it felt as if the whole world was taken away from him. Those moments of deep despair, sadness, and what happened? He felt so sad that he became blind from the sadness. Now, I want to make a distinction here, which is very important, and we learn this from the life of Yaqub alayhi salam, which is, there is a difference between being patient and being emotional. When Yaqub alayhi salam lost his son, he was very sad. So sad to the point he became blind. Did that mean he was not patient? No. In today's age, unfortunately, if someone were to be very sad, they would vent. A response too often heard is that you're not being patient. But this is not the case. When we look at Maryam alayhi salam, and she was giving birth, and she was going to the palm tree, What does she say? وَكُنْتُ نَسْيًا مَنْسِيًا. I just want to be forgotten. In today's age, it sounds like suicide. But it's her way of venting through a very difficult time in her life. So venting and being emotional and understanding one's emotion is not you being impatient. Rather, what the patience comes in is that we don't act upon this emotion. We don't make decisions upon these feelings.
Excuse me, we have an emergency. Someone has parked in the circle where the parents can't get in to pick their children up. You need to move your car immediately. I'm sorry for interrupting. Forgive me.
No problem, yes. It's an emergency.
Get out of your car right now.
If someone, whoever knows whose car that is, can you please quickly move the car? Jazakallah khair. As I was saying, when we look at Maryam alayhi salam, and she felt as if she couldn't handle it anymore. Being emotional and feeling these emotions is not a bad thing and does not make someone impatient. But to give you an analogy, during Ramadan we're all fasting and many of us have to go to the grocery store. And while you're hungry, you go to the grocery store, you want to buy everything. That feeling. I want to buy everything. I'm so hungry. That looks good. This looks good. That looks good. But what does the sound person do? No, this is not the right thing to do. I shouldn't make a decision based upon this feeling. I should restrain myself. So there is a distinction there we make. So when we look back at what the Prophet ﷺ is telling us, and how do we self-regulate ourselves during all these times during our lives? In asabatu sarra shaka fakana khairallah. Wa in asabatu dharra sabra fakana khairallah. If good comes to you, be grateful. Show gratitude to Allah. Give more zakah. Do more good deeds. And if difficulty comes, it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to cry, but be patient. And don't make decisions in a chaotic environment. The second step also that we can do when facing difficulty is by seeking advice. As there's a saying, al-istishara qabla al-istikhara. Seek advice. Fas'alu ahla dhikr. Ask those who are those of remembrance. If you're going through difficulty, and you have now, mashallah, have been patient and restrained yourself from making any rash decisions, don't then all of a sudden make a decision without consulting someone. Whether it be mental health, whether it be financial difficulties, or a question about fiqh or salah, you go to your imam or go to the financial expert or go to a counselor, a trained physician, wherever it may be. Seek advice. When the Prophet ﷺ, who was the best of creation, who received revelation, so much that this revelation would tear down mountains, when this man also sought advice of the companions, it surely means that we have to seek advice as well. When the Prophet ﷺ sought advice, it's even more emphasis for us, who are more deficient in knowledge, who are more deficient in wisdom, that we have to seek advice. And not become so stubborn in thinking that we know the way, that we always know how things are. And the last step I want to go over is something that we all know, but it's something that we should understand how much it impacts our lives. And that is the power of dua. This is the power of dua. As the Prophet ﷺ said, ad-du'a mukhul ibad. Dua is the essence of worship. When we actually look at dua, dua is a psychotherapy for us. It is us having a session with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is us having a session with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whenever and wherever. You don't have to pay. It's free, and He'll listen to you. And you know, us human beings, when we have one request, okay, we can fulfill it. 2 requests, we can fulfill it. But 10, 15, 20, it becomes overwhelming for us. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no limit. He can listen to all of our complaints all at the same time, and He can give us all the things we need at the same time. This is who we are asking. So why not ask? And why is it considered a psychotherapy? Because in the etiquette of a dua, what we first do is we first praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And a lot of times when we are in chaos, and there's fitna, and there's confusion, the first thing that will anchor us is by first understanding who is the most powerful, who is actually in charge. And that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you begin your dua, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, or any way, Allah, you are the greatest, the most merciful. You are reminding yourself first and foremost, Allah is in charge, and we are slaves, and we need His help. And then the etiquette after that is to send salawat on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam for many reasons. The first is obviously to receive good deeds. The second is because He is our teacher. He is our role model. He is uswa hasana. He is the best role model. So it is a reminder for us then as well to look into His life and see how He dealt with difficulties, because He dealt with more difficulties than any of us. So He had also showed us the way in how to deal with these certain difficulties. If a parent has lost a child, what did the Prophet ﷺ do? Because he lost 6. 6 times. When the Prophet ﷺ went to Ta'if, and he got run out by those children, throwing rocks at him, and he was bleeding, and he went into the middle of the desert in the scorching heat, what did he do? He made dua. Dua is a powerful tool. And to be more specific, if in a situation in which we are confused and there are 2 situations we need to make sense of, a specific dua is dua al-istikhara. Dua al-istikhara. And it's a simple dua which you make after praying 2 rak'ah nafil. Unfortunately, because of time, I can't go over it. But inshallah ta'ala, after Isha tonight, we'll have a halaqah on the meaning of dua al-istikhara, how to make it, and all the things relating to it. So if there's more information you want, you can come after Isha Salah. There'll be a short halaqah discussing about dua al-istikhara and what we can learn from it. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps us during difficult times. And we pray that He gives us the strength as well. وقولوا قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد وبارك على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما بارك على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم في العالمين انك حميد مجيد. اللهم اغفر لحينا وميتنا وصغيرنا وكبيرنا وشاهدنا وغائبنا. اللهم من احييته منا فاحي على الاسلام ومن توفيته منا فتوفه على الايمان. O Allah, we ask you of integrity and soundness in our religion, life, family, and possessions. O Allah, we seek refuge in you from unbelief and poverty, and from the punishment of the grave. O Allah, we seek refuge in you from worry and sorrow. We seek refuge in you from impotence and sloth, from stinginess and cowardice, and we seek refuge in you from the burden of debt. May Allah support this beautiful masjid. May Allah gravitate our hearts towards the masjid. And may Allah make us supporters of the masjid. And may Allah make us populators of the masjid. May Allah heal the hearts of those who have broken hearts. May Allah provide us with more than we have asked for. May Allah bless our ummah. May Allah protect and aid those in Kashmir and Palestine. May Allah protect and help those in Kashmir and Palestine. May Allah protect and help those in Kashmir and Palestine. May Allah protect those in Sham, Yemen, Burma, China, Libya, and all the Muslims oppressed all over the world. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه يزدكم واستغفروه يغفر لكم واتقوه يجعل لكم من أمركم مخرجا وأقيموا الصلاة